Guys, if you're new to LiveScope like I am, and sometimes you have a problem knowing exactly the spot you're looking at, well, I've got a way to fix that for you on today's episode of Kayak Hacks with Greenfish Nation. All right, just like a lot of other folks did, back around October of 2024, I got in the forward-facing sonar business when Lowrance cut the price in half with a new Eagle Eye 9. Well, I've had this thing out on my boat now. I actually got mine in December, a couple weeks before Christmas. Bought it at Bass Pro Shops. But I've had it out on the boat since the day I got it. I actually done a video on the installation, and I've done another video on the angle of the beam width, and I'll be sure and drop those at the end of this video so you can click on those and see them if you haven't. But problem I've had is really understanding exactly what I'm looking at. I understand if I'm looking at a tree, yeah, obviously it's a tree. But if there's fish on the left of that tree or fish on the right of that tree, I'm supposed to be looking in that direction. So kind of figured that out, as most of you probably have. One of the other issues I have is if I've got a tree out there to cast to, I have no problems at all. I can hit that sucker right on the trunk of that tree, or I can hit just to the right or just to the left, wherever I need to. But if I'm out scoping fish in open water, I have a problem making a good, accurate cast, knowing exactly where my transducer's pointing. So I got to scratching my head, and I got to thinking, what would make this easier for me to see? What would put a target out there on the water that I could hit? My 15-year-old son, he's a pretty scientific, pretty smart kiddo. And he said, "Dad, wouldn't it be pretty cool if you could just put a laser beam on that thing?" I said, "Trevor, you know, you're exactly right." So the wheels started turning up here. Smoke was coming out the ears, but the wheels and the gears were turning. I got on Amazon and I ordered the brightest laser pointer that I could come up with. And I've mounted it here on my LiveScope pole, which is DIY also. So I'm going to go over this with you today and show you how I've done this. It's real simple, like everything else I've done. Simple-minded, simple done. So this is what I've done, guys. So I've had to add a couple brackets here onto my LiveScope pole just so I would be able to turn it for you guys. This is not how my scope is normally set up, but so I'm going to take this thing apart real quick just to show you how easy it is to install. So this is my regular LiveScope pole that I made right down in the shop. I took my Dremel tool and I took a sanding wheel that was roughly the same diameter as this laser tube here. Now this laser pointer, it's pretty bright. You can see it pretty good in broad daylight out to about 100 feet in the grass. I expect water will be even better. But anyway, you just set that laser pointer up there where you want it. And I've made sure that I ground that where it'd be in a pretty straight line. And then again, I went to my local hardware store and I got some O-rings. So you put those O-rings in place. Just slide that O-ring down there. Put your laser pointer up there. And this laser pointer actually has grooves in it. So that worked out real convenient. You can adjust it into whatever groove you want. Then I picked up a couple of small washers. One of them's about 1/16 of an inch thick. The other one's about 1/8 of an inch thick, and an additional 1¼ inch O-ring. So I can use that kind of as a shimming system here on the back. And I can raise and lower that Now the gears are already turning on this. I'm thinking of a way to actually install a system where I can adjust this up and down by turning a knob underneath it, and it will raise and lower it so I can use it for different footages. But I want to show you guys how bright this thing is. So it's broad daylight out here right now. I mean, the sun's up high in the sky. We have almost zero cloud cover. I can't think of it being a brighter day, but I'm gonna get this thing turned on, and I'm gonna show you guys out here on the ground where this thing's gonna land at. All right, guys, we got a bright green laser. I'm gonna move it back and forth just a little bit up and down just so you can see it. That's 30 feet from my LiveScope pole. I can take a shim out and move it out further. So let's take a shim out and let's see what it does, just so you guys will know. I'm gonna take that 1/16 shim out, and we're gonna see how much it changed it. If you guys will look about 2 foot further, maybe 3 foot further, we're gonna take this last shim out, and this is the 1/8 inch shim, and we're gonna see about where we're shooting our laser with this. All right, I'm gonna be out probably about, I'm gonna say 60 foot. I think that's gonna be perfect because I run my LiveScope at a 60 foot distance. All right, guys, I've made it out here to the lake this afternoon. I've got off in a quiet little cove over here on Lake Tawakoni. We're gonna try this laser thing out. We're either gonna succeed together or we're gonna fail together, but we're gonna do it together. Let's see what this thing looks like. So I've got my laser pointer on top of my LiveScope, and I really can't see it on the water, but I'm not really counting that as a fail. If you look right there, you see that laser moving up there in those trees. So it's not a total fail. You don't know till you try, right? Failure builds innovation, and failure builds success. Well, we're gonna hang out here and we're gonna fish for a little while. We're gonna see what this thing looks like at night. Like I said, I don't think it's a total failure, so y'all hang in there. Let's see what she looks like at night. I think it's gonna work pretty well. Sometimes you set out to do one thing and do something totally opposite, but that's okay. Daylight, bright daylight on the water. It's not what I expected, but it's doable. I'll show you some footage. It'll actually help you kind of get point A to point B. This light will help you. It'll reflect off the water and it'll give you some reference points on the rocks, weeds, tree limbs, or whatever, kind of in the general direction you're fishing in the bright daylight. But it's now dusk. Let me show you what it does. Not sure how good that laser light's going to show up on the camera, but it does hit the water. If you look at that tree up yonder, it's shining on that tree too, but I'm getting my pinpoint point right here on the water, just a few feet in front of the boat. And then up on that big tree right there, just to the right of that bulldozer on the trunk, you can see it there. It does the same thing in the daylight, and that's just as visible in the daylight as it is in the dark. So that does give you a good reference point. So it's not a total fail. It's not all that I'd hoped for, but it gives us something to improve on. Guys, I appreciate you joining us today here at Greenfish Nation for this little innovation. I love doing innovations on kayaks and just any kind of fishing innovation. If you've got a way that you think that would improve this laser system for the LiveScope, drop a comment down below and let us know what you think. So Appreciate you joining us again. Don't forget to look at our other videos if you're interested in kayak fishing and kayak innovations. Thanks again. I'm John with Greenfish Nation.